Hello everyone, and welcome to a look at Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. With the next movie in the series finally out, I thought I might do the previous installment 2018, so let's open it up. Also, base this review off the extended cut, which I'll be addressing since not present in the theatrical versions. The news seems to pick this cut at about 142 minutes, so let's get this started. The film opens on the American Ministry of Magic in the year 1927, where Grindelwald is being transferred to Azkaban prison for his role in the previous film. However, he's unable to escape via a mole in the convoy in what's actually a pretty impressive, if somewhat busy, opening sequence. David Yates has appeared into the Wizarding World franchise, so everyone understands how to direct a compelling opening scene. Cut to the British Ministry of Magic in London, rejoining Newt and the other characters we met in the last movie. After Newt is brought up to speed, Sir Grindelwald is building an army and they need to be ready for it. He's been found in Paris, and even though this is easily the most divisive Wizarding movie so far, not just because of the screenwriter, I can definitely agree that I do like the period setting and fantasy aspects. I can see the approach to the mythos does get overstuffed in many ways. I will think the strongest aspect of these prequels. Depicting a part of the world that no longer exists and a bunch of beasts that never existed at all. That said, I really don't have to add to it as part of Grindelwald reclaiming his old home by killing everyone inside, including the children. Some slight dialogue change, but nothing too major in this scene. Though the kind of viewing does have more character-centric scenes, the one constant is that Newt can't legally leave England since even the last movie. That's obviously not going to stop him, and it turns out there are also eyes in the Ministry. Newt is then summoned by Dumbledore, and I must say, I really like Jude Law playing him in his younger days. I'm doing my best to keep an open mind about the new movie, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The extended cut also adds a brief scene with his put-outer, which I really like and also explains why the lampposts are out in this scene. Dumbledore gives Newt the address of his colleague, and we'll get to that later. Newt goes to reconnect with Jacob and Queenie, the former of whom has started to remember the events of the last movie, and is strangely fine with teaching her while bewitched. His character will conclusion either way, just how well Dan Fogler does when he's not cast a poor man Jack Black or a poor man Johnny Knoxville. However, the plot thickens Newt heads up Paris on the radar and the engagement with Queenie is called off and spell broken. Oddly, that's not the most dangerous example of that in this franchise, especially compared to love potions and books from the books in previous movies. As Newt goes to find Tina in Paris, we see her at the circus with a human from Nangini, played by Claudia Kim from Age of Ultron. She's also a maledictus, which since takes place before she became a snake permanently. I don't have much to add about the casting of the World Station Maker Boa Hancock for live action One Piece, should do well enough to adapt Amazon Lily. Credence is able to recruit Nangini easily, figuratively and literally burning bridges with a freak show in the process. I've seen Freaks, I know it never ends well with the Rainmaster. Anyway, Tina meets with Yusuf Kama, played by Willem Nodalum, about Credence. Willem's actually a very good character actor both in and out of this series, and I'm glad he's coming back for the next movie. In another scene unique to this version, we get a ballroom dance scene with Theseus and Lita, where Lita is informed her brother's alive. It's actually a pretty important scene for the plot and character, and will be important later. In the theatrical version, we just go straight to this part with Grindelwald's skull hookah apparitions. It's also like the song Gandalf's Magic Pipe Smoke and Lord of the Rings in one of their own version. After that, the next scene in this cut takes place in Loft in Paris, where Credence and Nangini share a moment together at sunrise. This also adds why the former is working with Grindelwald, and the latter would later join He Who Must Not Be Named. It also adds more detail, subtly about how Credence survived last movie's events. Jacob joins Newt on his shared parents. I like this bit part from David Wilmot as a portkey tout. He's quite a distinguished character actor with numerous TV and film roles to his name. Arriving in Paris and casting a confundus charm on a cop, Newt casts a spell to help find both Tina and Credence's whereabouts, which is a bit longer than the cut I'm reviewing. Niffer has also picked up their scent, and Newt has found out what happened the previous night. Hey, Tina's working at the France Ministry of Magic on assignment, and there's also spies on the inside, because of course. After a brief moment with Queenie, the cut I'm reviewing adds another scene of Credence and Nangini, which does help the story considerably. Expands upon what the theatrical cut had, which was just the two of them in a marketplace. It'd be a surprise how something as simple as shooting a baguette can help add more growth to an Obscurus and a Horcrux. And I must say the art team, especially the series regular production designer Stuart Craig, did a great job here. The whole office split on this movie, but most of us can agree this at least looks good. The Such a great job of depicting one that don't exist and one that never existed at all. It also turns out that Credence has found family who believe to have lost him as a child, but this is one they do agree I would like to see less in future installments. I'd also like to see the story focus less on future plans and more on one main individual through line. On that note, this also needs to lead a strange storyline in this film, starting with relative Corvus, who's believed to have been lost at sea, though the current viewing did make it a lot clearer. I just hope future films play less like a losing one version we need to talk about Kevin. Newt makes contact with Tina, and after they're up to speed, the next mission is back at the French Ministry of Magic. The halfway point, Dumbledore also makes contact with the Ministry, and I guess the fact they don't see eye to eye from the books and main film is still canon. I do reaffirm how much I like Jude Law's young Dumbledore. I hope next movie can expand on that. I also like these scenes with young Lita and Newt, the Boggart scene is especially good for that. Even though I admit the family draws a major issue with this movie and how heavy-handed it is, the scene where Dumbledore sees his late sister Mia of Erised is a genuinely sad scene, even without any lines. Jude Law's performance in the wall is one of the best parts of the film. Considering seeing the cut-out viewing developing a good balance between Michael Gambon and the late Richard Harris, not to mention the books. I also really like young Minerva McGonagall, played by Fiona Glasgow. Extracting the Wardian parasite from Kama, Newt and Tia must find a clue to Credence back at the Ministry. Also, I do like the presence of Nicholas Flamel, played in this film by Bronze Jodorowsky. No relation to Alejandro, I believe. Newt infiltrates the Ministry with help from Tina, and Apology's potion turns on his brother Theseus. I also forgot to mention that Theseus is marrying Lita. Awkward romantic subplot aside, the escape from the Ministry with new information and ancestral records are a very entertaining scene, actually. I also prefer if we have more scenes like this and fewer ones that play like a YA series you'd see on CW. Less heavy-handed drama, more Madaguts and Zawu, please. Grindelwald appears at the opera, and he's not here to tell the tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise. Rather, he uses the apparitions in the Skull Hookah to justify playing evil against non-magic as a blonde, blue-eyed dark wizard who wants to eliminate those he deems inferior. Make your own assumptions. The final battle in the Opera House is actually quite spectacular in Paris, and while I don't know what to expect from the main chapters of the story, if anything, I think the series at its best when it commits to period fantasy. Queen ends up allying Grindelwald, and a blood pact from the past preventing he and Dumbledore from fighting again. The film closes on Credence taking up his new role as he fires a spell out the window of Grindelwald's hideout. Aurelius Dumbledore. Even looking past the drama surrounding the screenwriter and several cast members, from a purely objective point of view, the film remains the lowest performing entry in the franchise to date, both critically and commercially. Though fans have been a bit more forgiving, I certainly don't think it's that bad a movie. Critical reception was more divisive. The film made around $160 million domestically and around $665 million worldwide on a $200 million budget. While successful, it's a bit less than previous film. That said, I am low-key interested in seeing more, and I have been okay with Mads Mikkelsen taking over Grindelwald for really obvious reasons. Given the recent instance of Ezra Miller generally talk of recasting DCU version of The Flash, also wouldn't surprise me to have to recast Credence going forward either. No matter what else happens, the future of any further Wizarding World movies does hinge on the new one being a hit. They're going to have to nail it. Given everything that's happened since this movie, WB isn't a battle on their hands. I may not hate this movie even though I acknowledge that. My final rating is 3 out of 4. Whether or not I see it in theaters or on HBO Max, I'll be addressing Secrets of Dumbledore in the near future. Later.